I don't like self-care. I do not like the term self-care. I just think it's gotten to be obsessive. I think it's just like everyone's so concerned about self-care and we need to compartmentalize all of these things where I'm just like, if I need to go take a bath, I'm just gonna go take a bath. Like it's just part of my life. I don't claim guilt in motherhood. I don't claim selfishness in motherhood. Like if I'm getting ready in the morning, I'm getting ready. I don't feel guilty for doing something for myself. And I also don't need to sanction out this time.
Hey guys, my name is Shayla. Welcome to the Hey Shayla Podcast. I went from full-time travel to full-time new COVID mom, and now I'm a mom of two. And holy wow, is motherhood and adulting a learning curve. There are so many decisions we need to make and a million ways to do it right. I created this podcast to interview some of my gurus to share their knowledge and empower you on your journey. Let me be your guinea pig and ask the questions you think everyone else knows. Here, we're a little hippie. We try to do things as naturally as possible. We're open-minded, and we don't take ourselves too seriously. But above all, we support one another and work to find what works. If you're into it, you're our people. Let's get started. Hey guys, welcome back to the Hey Shayla Podcast. Today I have Meghan Joy Yancy. Meghan Joy Yancy. Why did I stumble over that? She is a mother of 6, social media influencer, blogger, author, and entrepreneur. She aims to share the joy of living and intention in every day. She will share with us her unique journey as a mother of 6, small business owner, and online community builder. She is a dreamer, a doer, and everything in between. She is doing a lot. And I wanted to chat with her today about how she finds the me time with all of these things that she's doing. You can find her on Instagram and TikTok at Meghan Joy Today. She has a YouTube channel, Living the Yancy Life, and her website, meghanjoyyancy.com. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me. Like I said, you've got 6 kids and you have 15,000 businesses. So I'm just honored to get a sliver of your day.
Thank you. I love everything you do. So I'm really excited to be a part of it.
Thank you. Well, and today we're going to talk about finding me time because I feel like on social media, it's a huge thing of like, make sure you get your self-care as a mom, make sure that you're filling your cup, make sure that and I have 2. And I'm like, okay, what? And then that's added pressure on top of like everything else that you're doing. You're like, but am I giving myself me time? Am I giving myself me time? I don't know. So I feel like you do things a little bit different than some or most people. And so I was really interested to hear about this. So first, I always like to start with, tell me about you. You have 6 children, you and your husband work from home, you run multiple businesses. How do you do it all, Meghan? How do you do it all?
Okay, I do get that question a lot. And I really do not do it all. I really don't. And if we're comparing, what we're all doing, it might look like a lot, but I do what I have capacity for. So my capacity for everything I do is I'm not overwhelmed. If I get to an overwhelming point, I pull back on stuff. I have no problem doing that. Like, oh, this feels stressful. I do not like being stressed. I do not like being overwhelmed. So if I feel that creeping in, I'm like, okay, let's pull back on some stuff. Let's eliminate some things because that's too much.
Yeah.
But I do think that my threshold for what I can handle is a good amount of stuff, and I won't feel overwhelmed. So
yeah, you feel like
it does look like I'm.
Sorry, I just cut you off, but like thrives in chaos and thrives in busy but you also are slowing down. I noticed that on your Instagram, but I think it's the Enneagram 7 in you. Actually, I have no idea what that means, but it just is that you enjoy being busy. You enjoy having things to do.
I do love doing things, and it is the Enneagram 7. Like I am always doing something, but I'm also doing something in my nothing. Like I will, when people are like, I can't do this because I have plans that night. And then your plans is like dancing or doing something at home, like doing nothing. I will schedule in time for nothing. I will be like, I'm not doing anything this day. I do like doing a lot of things. However, I don't like busy. I never want someone to look at me and be like, oh, I probably shouldn't ask Meghan this because she's really busy. I make time for what's important and I prioritize a lot of things. I don't want a descriptive characteristic of myself to be busy.
Yeah.
I really, and I know it looks like that, but I'm at home a lot. I'm chilling. I do relax a good amount of time. I don't have any problem doing that. And so as I know it looks like that, but I really don't like bogging life down with too much because I do like that there's that attraction to slow living. So it's like go getter doing all the things, but not getting caught up in hustle culture and just missing out on the beauty of life in front of you.
Totally.
So it's this blend. And instead of being stressed out of like, I need to do this, I need to do that. Oh, but I need to slow down. I'm just like, just go with the flow. Like sometimes there's seasons of a lot more and sometimes there's seasons of a lot less. And I just have it be more of a fluid piece of life. So I promise I do not do it all. But I work within my capacity.
Well, and it feels like you're very intentional with what you choose to do, which then, even if you are doing a lot of things, they're things that you truly enjoy. And it doesn't feel like, oh, I need to do these 5 things today that I don't love. It's like, oh, yes, I have 5 things on my to-do list today. Let's do it.
Yes, absolutely. Like I'll work within my giftings. My love language is giving and receiving gifts. So sometimes I'm like, I'm spending a lot of time wrapping gifts for people. Like I have gifts for friends and family wrapped and like in presentable form. They are prepared for 3 months from now
Oh my
in my
gosh.
basement and like just ready to give to them on their birthday because I enjoy that. Like I get excited to look for gifts and I thrift every week. So
Yeah.
I like put together these things and it's like you said, it's not stressful. It's like I get to do this and I have it. And probably I'm not a type A person at all. It kind of looks like it because I have my everything like scheduled out, but that's to keep me aligned because I'm all over I can be all over the place. I try to keep myself within the bounds or I will be all over the place.
Totally. So when you hear self-care, how would you define that? Like I said, I feel like we're often getting told that and we're told that we need to fill our cups. So how would you define self-care?
I don't like self-care.
Interesting. Okay.
I do not like the term self-care.
Yeah.
Um I just think it's gotten to be obsessive.
Agreed.
I think it's just like everyone's so concerned about self-care and we need to compartmentalize all of these things where I'm just like if I need to go take a bath, I'm just gonna go take a bath. Like it's just part of my life.
Yeah.
Like I don't claim guilt in motherhood. I don't claim selfishness in motherhood. Like if I'm getting ready in the morning, I'm getting ready. I don't feel guilty for doing something for myself. And I also don't need to sanction out this time. I have a very supportive husband who helps me. So it's not like I'm just striving to do all these things, but it's just not I haven't needed to compartmentalize taking care of me because it's just a normal part of my day. If I'm planning something with friends, I do it. My husband helps with the kids, and I love being with my kids. So I don't even feel like I need to leave them to have something for me.
Right.
I think there can be like overwhelming times and stressful times where I'm like, oh my goodness, I just need a breather. That's a reality of life. And I've just learned of not needing to break my day up between like, well, this is time for this person and this is time for these and this is time for this, but versus like what is just my natural flow of life. And if I'm feeling overwhelmed and I feel like I need something for me right now, I just do it.
Yeah.
I just haven't I think it's easy when we get so focused on like I need self-care, then we just get for me I view everything through my faith and I'm a Christian and it can be very like I idolize that. And so I just never want to get into that place where I am doing that. So for me, truthfully, the source of taking care of me is Jesus. When I go to him and when I just surrender everything, man, it just I'm like I'm not trying to strive to do all these things because I just give it to him and life is just so much because I'm not striving to do it all on my own anymore. And
Totally.
so that is my overall I am filled, my cup is filled through him and in my faith. And I don't claim mom guilt at all. So when I'm doing something for me, I don't feel guilty of what I didn't do
what
for
do you
my
mean you don't
kids.
claim mom guilt?
So I remember the days I would lay down in bed at night and I would think of all the different ways that I felt like I wasn't a great mom.
Yeah.
And I would replay it and replay it and replay it. And then I would feel guilty as a mom
Mm-hmm.
constantly. And I was like, I don't want to live life that way at
Totally.
all anymore. So I started completely changing my mindset. So when I went to bed at night, I thought of all the ways that I was a great mom, even if it was one thing that I did that day. And that's what I thought about. And if I felt like I failed in a certain way, I was like, all right, we're going to do it better tomorrow. And I'm going to be aware of that. So I don't feel guilty as a mom almost ever. Like I have no problem apologizing to my kids if I make a mistake and I do something wrong or adjusting how I did something. But I think so many moms, we just live with mom guilt
Totally.
constantly. We just walk around with it. And I don't think that's a burden for us to bear. I don't think that benefits us at all to thrive in life with that mindset.
Totally. I actually agree with a lot of what you're saying because I feel very similar in I don't need to like get away and go do this thing just for me. Like, and I feel like a lot of people are stay-at-home moms and they're like, well, how can I can't get away and go get a manicure or do a spa day. Like, I guess I'm never going to get self-care time. And like for me, self-care, well, we'll get into your self-care and I'll kind of go on that, but I love the religion piece. And if you're not religious, it's also what you're doing is meditating and like slowing everything down and kind of saying some things are out of my hands and I'm going to trust that process. I'm going to trust that Jesus has it. I'm going to trust that the universe has it. I'm going to trust that I have it, that everything's good. And I think that that is a really crucial piece to that surrendering really of just like life and just knowing that you're doing the best you can. And I'm curious too, because your children are a little bit older. I mean, you've got 6 of them, so you've got some older and some younger. But I feel like parenting in the past, I mean, mine is almost 3, with social media is gnarly. There's so much information. And so you are like looking at these wake windows for your 3-month-old and you're like, well, mine's not doing that. I'm doing something wrong. Or, oh, I watched someone on social media, their baby they have a 9-month-old that's walking. My baby hasn't even started crawling. Like, and then there just starts to be this like doubt of what I've gotten messages. Wow, how they're crawling already? How did you do that? What? How did I do it?
Right.
They just are doing their thing. And so I feel like social media can be a good source of mom guilt, a good place to grab those nuggets to compare yourself to and have that mom guilt. We are going to take a brief break to talk about the California Beach Go. The California Beach Go is the easiest, lightest pop-up tent there is. I used it as like a pack and play when Aaliyah was little. I know some people that use it as a crib. We now use it when we're camping, when she's outside and it's a house. She's used it as a hamster wheel. You can get really creative with this. But what I love about it is that it's so light and that it literally goes up in seconds. I remember trying to put a pack and play together 9 months pregnant and I almost cried. This thing is so simple. I would recommend getting the mattress. That's a question I get a lot. You don't necessarily need the mattress cover, but if you don't have that mattress, then the bottom is just like the tent material. So you want a little padding. I have a code, Hey Shayla. You can go to heyshayla.com/California Beach Co pod. And if my code ever doesn't work, you can always go to heyshayla.com/codes. Let's get back to the show. So what are ways that you would say that you fill your cup up? You're saying would you just say Jesus in that time and that like surrendering?
Yeah. For me, it's definitely like prayer time, reading my Bible, praise and worship time. Like that's my source for everything. And sometimes it's going and having a night out with my friends, or it's taking a bath. Like I can honestly go take like a 10-minute bath and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. Like I don't need much to kind of be rejuvenated and kind of recalibrate, when there is a lot of chaos and noise and all those things. Cause that's just like normal human things. When you're around like so much stimulation constantly, you it's okay to just go in the bathroom and lock the door for 5 minutes. Like, that's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to feel bad about that.
Totally.
And I do think that social media it just messes with us with the comparison. That's another thing that I stopped. I stopped all the comparing. Two of my children started reading at 7. I kept one of my kids kind of back, if you want to call it, back a year. So he's 7 and in kindergarten. I have no issues with that at all. I'm like, it actually was the best thing for him. It plays into my personality because I literally don't care what anybody else thinks.
Right. Yeah.
So that aids in me being able to just like, oh, that's great that your kid is doing that. My kid is not, and we are good.
Yeah.
And so it was another one of those things I had to like mentally, when I see something, information, I'm like, okay, I want to look into that a little bit more. Like, oh, that's interesting. Or other things I'm like, that's super great for them. That's not our story. It's a little different. And being really confident in the decisions that we've made for our family, because it's going to be different, especially with learning and having 6 different kids with 6 different personalities, and they learn and they grow in all these different ways, and they all have a different story. And so we've always, when it comes to education, we take it year by year, kid by kid. What do they need in this season? What can we give them in this season? And so it's another one of those things where I just kind of go with the flow of like what they need. Have you seen those those reels when they talk about when you do a job interview and as an adult, they're not like, oh, what age did you learn how to read?
Oh.
When did you learn the alphabet? You know,
yes.
like,
yeah,
nobody cares. Nobody cares about, none of that matters.
Totally. I know, that's my mom. She's like, I let you cry it out and I put you on formula from the beginning because I got sick and I had no breastfeeding. And I was like, that's like the opposite of what I'm doing. And she's like, yeah, how do you feel about that? I was like, I don't remember any of that. And she's like, okay. I'm like, okay. Because I'm freaking out about wake windows and whatever. And she's like, stop, it's fine. Yes.
We stress ourselves out. My mom told me, she's like, I never sat down on the floor and played with you guys with toys. I was like, you did it? Yeah. I didn't even know. And I'm not scarred from it.
Right. Yes.
There's nothing, and so we put this pressure of like, you need to do this and this and this for your kids. Like, be you, work within your giftings. Like, totally. I know that I'm gifted at being a fun mom. I suck at deep cleaning. I do not care if my house is like super, super clean. I suck at some other things, but I'm like, I know what I'm good at. And so instead of trying to do all of the things, I'm like, I'm going to hone in on a few of my natural talents in all of life, but specifically to motherhood.
And I think so much of what you're saying is intuitive. So, and you're confident in saying, I'm the fun mom. I'm not the clean mom or whatever, deep clean. I'm not this, I'm not that. But someone else might be like, oh my God, I hate playing with, I do not like sitting on the floor with my kids. But you know what I love doing? Baking with them. I love doing puzzles with them. I love doing, and like figuring out the piece that brings you joy, that then brings them joy. And like you are, that's your gift. That's the thing that you get to teach them. And that is only unique to you. And again, you see other people, you see your friend. I've got a friend who's got a 2-year-old that was snowboarding and skiing. And I'm like, Seth, we need to get on the mountain with Aaliyah. And he's like, she's 2. I'm like, yeah. And this part, they're 2 too. And he's like, maybe next winter, like, I don't, that's not a priority for me. And I'm like, is it a priority for me? I don't know.
Right. Like, but what is it?
Yeah. And again, with the intuition, knowing what you need to fill your cup. So for me, I need 10 minutes to go meditate. And I come back down, like exactly like you said, I like float down the stairs and I'm like, hello, I am back and ready. And so now sometimes stuff is like, do you need a minute to go meditate? And I'm like, yeah. I'll be right back. Or I love when my counter space is empty. That's my self-care. Do I care? I'm with you. Crumbs, don't really care about it. My sister comes and vacuums whatever. She shows up at my house. I'm like, thank you. But like, I want the clutter off of the counters. I want like the dishes out of the sink. If those things are happening,
the same way.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, today's a great day. Today is
Yes.
Did I get a facial? No. Do I care? Did I shower? No. Is that what I need? Like, and I've had some people be like, oh, I need to shower every day. And I'm like, I am so glad you know that about you. I am so glad that you know that. And I hope that happens for you every single day. And so it doesn't have to be this elaborate. I was honestly thinking and hoping you were going to say this, of just like finding the pockets within motherhood, because if you're a mom of 6, you're running businesses, and you feel like you need to get away for a weekend once a month, like you might be unhappy with the fact that you can't, you know? And I think just working within what you have and knowing the things that you need, and then talking with your family and your partner to make sure that those things can happen.
Yes. I think that so much is that communication of like, hey, this is something I need. So when all my kids were younger, I did have something worked out with my husband because I was working and I needed some time to myself to also get that work done. And so every Sunday for 4 hours, our deal was I went to Starbucks and I worked for 4 hours by myself, and I looked forward to it every week.
Yeah.
And that was a seasonal thing, and it was wonderful. I don't need it anymore. Because our life is set up differently. But I think it's so much of what you said. It's the intuition. And that's with everything. That is like with your babies. That is with your self-care, even though I don't like that term.
No, neither do I.
Those things. I have to think of another term that works for me, because I think it's important, but I think it should be a normal part of life. I don't think that we have to be like striving for this like specific thing. I think it should just be something that happens.
Yeah.
Just normally, like brushing your teeth in the morning.
Right. Yeah. Or a shower a day. Like, it doesn't have to be this elaborate thing. It can just be a piece of your day. And the more, like, for me, for a while, it was working out every day. I was like, I need to get my workouts in. And guess what? My babies hung out with me while I worked out. Sometimes I was doing a side plank breastfeeding, and I just waited until she was done, and that was a really long side plank. Or like she needed to take a nap mid workout, and I did that, and then I went back to my workout. But like, knowing that you need that, then you're just roll with whatever happens in the meantime.
Yes. Yep. It's so much of that, and just like going with, like, even throughout my day, if I'm kind of just going and going, I'm like, man, I could really like just lay down for a minute. And then I'm like, oh, my body like wants to go lay down and rest for a minute. And then guess what? My kids are there and I can snuggle with them. And so it's just like that. Like when it's so much of that intuition and just like listening to yourself, listening to your kids, listening to your husband, and communication. And I think when you're releasing trying to make it all work and fit, it just is such a more beautiful natural flow of like, okay, yeah, this is where I'm feeling drawn to right now, or this is what I need to get done. But for me, I'm gonna make it fun. My husband always wants me to go on runs with him. He's been on a running streak for like 130 days. Me every single day.
Which is remarkable, because I mean, he started in the peak of winter.
Yes. I'm so proud of him.
Of course.
And he has asked me every day, and I've been like, I have said no every day, except for Valentine's Day. I was like, I'm sorry. It has to be. That is just not fun to me. Like, I need my workouts to be fun. That is my motivator. And I know that about myself now. Like if it's fun, I will do it. I'm all in. I'll work out for 5 hours if it's fun. So I just know that about myself. I know the things that are gonna, get me involved in certain things. And so again, that's like your intuition, like figuring out yourself and what you need and what you know about yourself.
Right. And another thing that you said kind of stuck out is you like your kids' education stuff, and you confidently are like, I don't care. I don't care what you think. I don't care. So what are some tips for like being so confident in all the decisions that you're making?
I think for me, it's also being okay knowing that it might not be the right decision, but in that moment it was. And so if I go back and I'm like, maybe that wasn't the best, I can readjust. Like, it's never too late to readjust what we needed. I don't actually have that happen often, because I don't see a failure as a failure. I see it as something that I learned from. And so I'm like, that probably wasn't the best decision we made, but what did we learn from it that has helped us with the next decision or the next thing? And I take from my experiences, my husband's experiences, and that of our kids, and me and my husband come from like completely different educational backgrounds. Like he has his master's degree. He worked in education for like 13 years. And I was like homeschooled, didn't go to college, like
Yeah.
very, very different. So we were on complete opposite ends of the spectrum when it came to our children's education.
Mm.
And I prayed a lot and we talked a lot. And it's insane like how just in unity we are with it now. And so we really talk about it each year of like what each kid needs and what they need in each season. We're quite non-traditional when it comes to what we want for them. I would totally unschool my kids if my husband was game for that. That one's he's not good with, but I would be like, let's run wild in nature, children. We'll just do that for day school.
Yeah.
Um,
So funny.
but I think I want to equip them for life.
Right.
So many things that I feel really confident in that because I want to prepare them for life. I think of how we learn as adults, and it's not test taking, it's not getting grades. I think about how we all learn and grasp and absorb things. And oftentimes, when I'm learning something new, I'm passionate about it, I'm driven about it, I'm excited about it. And I really want to foster a love of learning for my kids.
Mm-hmm.
So when I think of all of these things, and again, I have quite a countercultural viewpoint on everything in life. So it's just really easy for me to just like, I'm just doing whatever I want. You guys can do whatever you want over there.
Yeah.
It's natural for me to just think that way. I don't try to. But I feel confident in those things, and you can always make adjustments. It's nothing where it's like, I was thinking, I color my hair a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you color your hair and you make a mistake, you can always fix it.
Mm-hmm.
You can always change it. And so it's the same with so many, obviously some decisions in life are more permanent, but a lot of times you can adjust. If it's not working, you can change it up. And so because I know that, I feel really confident walking into new seasons, making the decisions that we do.
Yeah. And just making a decision, not stressing about it too much, and knowing that if it doesn't work out the way you were hoping, that you can readjust. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes we'll mull over things a little bit. We'll like think about things and pray about it and take a little time. And sometimes we make my two oldest daughters, they're 13 and 12. They were having a rough go of the beginning of the school year this year. And I was talking about it with my husband, and I was sharing some of the deep things my teenage daughter had shared with me. And I was like, I think that maybe we should take them home after winter break. And he goes, why wait till then? Today's their last day. We'll just have them start coming home and do online school on Monday. Emailed the school, told them they were coming home. This was their last day. I was like, okay.
Oh my gosh. Oh, because they were in traditional school. Decision. They were in traditional school and it wasn't working. And you were like, let's pull them today.
Yeah. And yeah, we did that day.
Okay. Yeah. Great. And did they love it?
Oh, it has been the absolute best thing. It has been so good.
And you're saying because you started homeschooling them, right?
Yes, I homeschooled for 9 years. This was the first year they were all at school.
And then you're like, hey, let's try going to traditional school. Great.
Yes.
Hey, that didn't work. Let's come back.
Yes. Yeah. And my other kids are still there. My other kids are still there. That's and then great. My two are home. Yeah. So we really do take it year by year, kid by kid.
Yeah. That's amazing.
And it changes every year, and it's been good. And it's really neat to see. So next year, my oldest daughter, we presented, here's your 3 different options for what you could do for next year. Let's talk it over and you can make a decision. And if you don't like it, after a couple months, give it a couple months, then we can always change it. So we leave a lot of room for flexibility.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think that message is really important for moms to hear, because sometimes it's like paralysis by analysis, right? Like you're just so overwhelmed and trying to make the right decision because like the stakes are hard. The stakes are high. They're our kids. They're people. They're humans. Yeah. We want to make sure that we're doing the best in our capacity, our knowledge. So it's like you feel a lot of pressure, but to do again with your intuition or knowing if we do this, we can always change it. Like similarly, we co-slept for a long time. When I was pregnant with my second, I was like, how are we going to go sleep with 2 babies? We have to sleep train. So we sleep trained her at like a year and a half. Baby was born at 2 years. They both got sick. Toddler came back into the bed with us and has been there ever since. And people are like, wait, you're co-sleeping with them both? Didn't you sleep train? And I'm like, and I'm glad we did it then. And I'm also glad she's here now. And we know how to do it if we need to do it again. But like right now, this is what's working. And I always say, do what works until it doesn't. And that
exactly.
Yeah. So I totally agree with everything you're saying.
I always said, if I'm sleeping and the babies are sleeping, we are good.
Yeah.
And then when you get to a season where you're not anymore, then you can change it up. My almost 5-year-old is still in bed with me and we love it.
Love it. Yeah. And some people would not. Yeah. I love snuggling with mine too. And some people are like, no, that's a hard pass for me. And I'm like, great. You probably get a lot of time at night when your kids are sleeping, I watched like a YouTube video the other day of like a night routine because I just made ours. Yeah. And she like rocked her baby to sleep, put him in the crib. And she's like, and so he's out for the night. Then I go to the other two. And I'm like, whoa. You just lay him down in the crib and he's out for the next 12 hours. Like, that's not what my house looks like. And it's just so interesting how everyone does it differently.
Some of those babies are good sleepers.
Seriously, it's incredible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and with all of my prior kids, when we prepared for the next baby, I did the same thing you did. Like, okay, now we've got to prepare for the next baby. And we had them all sleep trained. They all slept in their own beds. But my last one, I'm like, oh, there's no other babies. So we good.
No exit. You have no eviction notice. Just hang out. Yeah. We're going to take a brief break to talk about elimination communication. It's where you potty train your infant. If you are interested at all in doing this, it saves on diapers. It helped us with potty training. You can go to heyshayla.com/go diaper free pod and it will bring you to the book that you can buy. If you want to buy the potty that they have or the padded underwear so that when you are potty training, it doesn't just go everywhere. You can go to heyshayla.com/tinyundiespod and it's the tiny trainers that are the padded ones. I have loved doing elimination communication. We usually don't start till like 6 months, but I felt like it was great for potty training and just for not having to clean up a really poopy diaper. It's easier to wipe a butt that's pooped into a potty. So there you go. If you're interested, heyshayla.com/go diaper free pod or heyshayla.com/tinyundiespod. Hey Shayla will be the code at all those places. Let's get back to the show. The other thing that I have found, and I think that you do this very well as far as having confidence, this is always, I felt like the secret to confidence is to not judge other people. So I feel like the people that are the most self-conscious are the ones that are judging others because they're sending that energy back and they think it's coming back to them. Where if you're sending out like, yeah, girl, get that run. Good for you. Oh, those are weird pants, but I love them for you. Like, and you just have like this energy that's just constantly cheering other people on. Then when you're at the grocery store with screaming children, you're like, everyone's probably thinking, that poor mom. Like, oh, and they're not giving me dirty looks. They're just, and you just feel that non-judgmental energy coming back and you just, I don't know, have more confidence.
For sure. Oh, for sure. I feel like if you're in a conversation and a mom shares an opinion with you and you don't share that opinion, but you don't feel okay to speak it, then, there's probably some growth there that needs to happen. Like, I don't have a problem with being like, oh, that's awesome. I think this, and then we share, our different perspectives and we grow and we learn from it. I think if you can get to the point where you're in a conversation, you can be like, oh, that's amazing. This is what I do. And this is why I do it. I think you learn from each other in that. And like, when you can cheer I think it's exactly what you said, you're cheering one another on in it. I'm used to it because I'm normally the odd man out. Like, I'm the weird one at the table.
Yeah.
Who is like, everyone's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm used to it now. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't. And I will say that has been a growth because I used to be chronic people pleaser. I know you wouldn't see it now. You wouldn't think it now, but I totally used to be. And that's been like a beautiful process to grow into of like, no, I am my own. I do really think in a very different way than most people. And I think just learning the confidence in that and the beauty is because there's been so many times someone has done something different than me. and I learn from it, and then maybe I try it, and I grew in that. And definitely having non-judgmental spaces. I will tell you, all the people I surround myself in real life, and then even on my Instagram feed, I don't see judgment anywhere. It's like nowhere in my life, because I surround myself with very encouraging, supportive women, and I want to give that to everybody too. That even if they know, like, oh, we do things differently, I'm still going to cheer you on in everything you do, and want the best for you.
Yes.
And so I think it's also who you're surrounding yourself with, and your Instagram feed, your social media feeds. What's popping up there?
Oh,
are you encouraging others, and are you getting encouragement back?
totally. I absolutely agree with that. I think
Yeah.
muting and unfollowing and blocking are like some of the greatest things for mental health, for sure.
Yes.
So I guess I was gonna ask you, tips on time management. What do you have tips on time management, or we just go with the flow, or what do you think there?
Yeah, I used to, again, it was seasonal. So as I built businesses over the years, it was, being on my phone and doing what I could as I could in between things. And then there was times where I would have a big block of time to do things. I did time blocking for a good season of life, and then timer type stuff where you set a timer and you knock out your stuff in. And so I think that, again, I'm super fluid with that. It's intuitive in different seasons of life of what's working for me. So I've never just stuck with one thing and that's the one thing I always did. It was when I had babies, it was very different than when you're physically needed for little ones, you are mentally and emotionally needed for older ones. And so
Interesting.
yeah, it looks really different. I need to be really mentally and emotionally there for my older kids. Uh, but I do feel this like more physical, I wouldn't say freedom, but just availability,
Yeah.
because I'm not needed in that capacity as much anymore. I can tell all my kids to go brush their teeth now, and I don't have a little one to, do that with. And so I also, like, really, my young ones are very independent. Like, my 4-year-old, I'm like, go make your lunch for school tomorrow, and she will like start to make her lunch and stuff. So she's independent in her nature, but I also teach her a lot of, like, you can do these things.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's always shifted and changed in different seasons. And now I'm home. My older two are home with online school, and I can work all day when my kids are at school. Next year, they're all coming back to homeschool.
Oh
So
my
we're switching
gosh.
it up again.
Yeah.
So I know that'll be another big adjustment. And so I will shift into a new thing. But again, it's one of those things, instead of stressing about fitting in all of the things in your day and then being stressed when you didn't get all in, my planner is full, like top to bottom. I write very, 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 very small. I can fit a lot in my planner, and there's a lot to do. There's just pages and lists and all of these things, and I like to brain dump it all out, because then I have just more space for everything else.
Yeah.
And I'll usually write down maybe the top 5 to 7 things I want to get done in a day. I do have a binder where I keep, like, here's a cleaning schedule, here's like my workout schedule. Sometimes I stick to it. Sometimes I haven't looked at it in weeks. And instead of getting down on myself,
Right.
I just roll with it. So if I get those 5 things done in that day, awesome. If I didn't, I'll try tomorrow. It doesn't have to be a big deal. And my pastor said this something one time, and I just love it. It always sticks with me. He was like, you'll set this goal to lose weight, and so you go to the gym 4 times in that week, and you work hard, and you miss that 5th day, and you get so down on yourself, and then you quit and you give up, but you neglected to celebrate the 4 days you did show up.
Yeah.
And I think we so much do that to ourselves. We just, like, had one off day, and we're like, well, screw it all, then it didn't work.
Totally.
Instead of being like, but I did so good all those other days, and I can start over tomorrow, in basing our failure, again, it's not even a failure, basing that into what it was, instead of celebrating all the great things that you did do, And I think it is that mindset of being focused on way more of the good stuff and just learning from the mistakes or the things that didn't turn out as good as what we thought it would be.
Totally. I love when you said that when you go to sleep now, you think about all the good things of the day and not all the ways that you perceived that you failed. I think that what you appreciate appreciates.
Yes.
Isn't that good?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's true. Yeah. The
Yeah.
more you like focus on the good, the more good there is. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love that.
It
So
really is.
what advice do you have for new moms or current moms or not new moms who about finding time for themselves?
Definitely talk to your spouse.
Yeah.
Like definitely have the conversations because we all have different capacities for things and we all need to be filled up in different ways in different capacities. And so you might need a little bit more time to rejuvenate. That might just be your personality. And so being able to for your partner to know, hey, this is something that I need. And obviously that looks different for single moms. So if you can build a village, please do it. I so wish we had more village mentality in motherhood. Like
Totally.
I really, really, really wish that that was the reality. I bought a ranch so that some people can come build houses on the land and we can do village living.
Great.
I just want a commune. That's all I want.
Let me know when a lot is ready for sale.
That
Honestly.
is like dream for
same.
me.
I'm the exact same way. Yes.
I think I'm like, it's up to us women. If we want village living, we need to do it. We need to implement it. And so if you can begin to build that and find your people, that it helps to live in close proximity. I think that is definitely beneficial, especially if you are a single mom. And then really leaning on your own intuition. I don't want to say this like, but I'm gonna say it like, stop reading all the books. I love reading books. I read all the books. Stop reading all the books and looking at all the stuff of people telling you how you should do things, and like start leaning into how you feel because it's for you and your family. It's gonna look different than everybody else.
Totally. Yeah.
So I think
agree.
Yeah, kind of like shoving away all the noise and like settling into what do I want to do? What does my family want to do? What is best for us? And just roll forward with that, because I think that stems out into making sure you have time for yourself, making sure you feel filled up, because you can give your best to your family and to your kids, which is what ideally what we all want as mothers. That's a natural nurturing spirit of us. You can give your best when you have taken. So let go of guilt, let go of shame, let go of this is selfish or anything like that. Like just like begin to eliminate that from your mindset. And that does take practice. It takes time. It takes repetitive taking inventory of what your thoughts are. And so when it starts in your thoughts, then it comes out in your words, and then you really start to believe it. Like
and your energy.
I don't hold on to any of that anymore because I've spent years cultivating that in my own life. And so it's really actually beautiful. I have so much more space for other things when I'm not worried about, is this selfish? Should I feel guilty about this? I don't carry any of that. Not at all. So I have space and time for all the other things because I'm not living that way. And there's just a lot of freedom in that. So that's my encouragement to women is leaning into more of that and letting go of all the extra noise.
I cannot agree more, as we're creating noise here of how to find your best. But truly, like, I hope that what people get from this is like, don't do how Meghan gets her self-care. Don't do how I get my self-care. Go inside, figure out what feels the best. And you have to do that work, because if you're just like, partner, I need self-care. They go, okay, great. Right. How can I support you in that? And you're like, self-care. And they're like, okay, how can I support you in that? Hey, partner, I want to go on a run every single day. Great. Let's make space for that. Hey, partner, I want to take a bath or whatever. Like, you need to first know what to ask for and then ask for it. And that is, it's hard work to silence and go inside.
It is.
So I love that advice. Amazing.
It totally is. That was just the other day, for a couple days in a row. I was like, oh, we have a little weight room, a little workout room. It's like, I really want to go lift weights. That's such an odd feeling. But I was like, oh, that was me desiring to go and do that. So I just went and did it, you know? So it's just like when you have those, and then like you said, like being able to tell, this is one thing that put in perspective for me. I was like, have you ever heard of dad guilt?
No.
Do men ever feel guilt for not showing up as a dad? No.
So but part of that, I think, is the social media. If I go on Seth's Instagram, he doesn't have wake windows. He doesn't have like baby-led weaning. He doesn't have all this information, like homeschooling information, how to entertain your toddler. Like that is not on his feed. So when he wakes up and turns on the TV, I'm like, oh, the first thing that this morning was watch TV. And he's like, yeah, we were cuddling and just chilling and hanging out. It was great. And I was like, he's like, Shayla, you need to delete that. You need to figure out. And I'm like, okay. And I think it's so true though. Dads just roll with it. They're like, this feels good. Yeah.
They do. Oh, man. And they're like, yeah, I hugged them. I kissed them. I was there. I was a present dad. I read them a story. Like that was good. We're good. Everybody's good. Everybody's happy. Look around you. Everyone. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm just doing this to myself.
Seriously. Yeah. And while you were off enjoying your present time, I was on social media trying to figure out a toddler activity for my kid when really they were already playing with the puzzle and having a great day. Like, oh man.
I know.
It's tough, but
we're learning
totally every day. Well, thank you so much for being on. If anybody wants to find you, they can find you on Instagram and TikTok, Meghan Joy Today, your YouTube channel, Living the Yancy Life, and her website, meghanjoyyancy.com. Thank you. I really, really appreciated this. I loved it.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you enjoyed it, please share with somebody you think would love. And I would be so honored if you would subscribe to the podcast and leave a comment and rating below so I can know what you guys are digging, what you want more of, just connect with you a little better. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.